what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew, and welcome back to another episode of Conspiracy Theories with Like. That's right. So, two things. First and foremost, same setup as the last video. Second of all, and yes, I am wearing the same shirt as the last video. There is a very good explanation. I filmed these videos back to back. Reason for, because I'm going on a vacation. I didn't want to have to worry about making videos when I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So I made a few videos ahead of time. So yeah, that's why I'm wearing the same shirt 2 videos in a row. I promise I have more clothes, 100%. But first and foremost, thanks to Cicada 1205 for the Conspiracy Theory Iceberg. It is much appreciated. I'm sure people probably like, why does he keep mentioning this person? Check them out on Reddit. They do have like other stuff that they post. I think, maybe not, I don't know. But when you guys are watching this video, I will be on a cruise ship. That is right, in the middle of the ocean, drinking my worries away. So absolutely super stoked about that, and super stoked to get this video prepped and ready to go. It's always good to be planned ahead. I like being planning ahead. Plus next week, when I would have normally made this video before we go on a cruise, I'm gonna be super busy, like stupid busy. And the reason for is because work, and I don't want to get too much into it, but basically work is gonna have to basically I'm gonna have to be doing more, which is story of my life, but it is what it is. So basically today we're going to get into our theory. I'm not going to keep jabber on, but let's go ahead and jump right into Serpent Seed. As you guys should probably expect by now, we're not going to jump right into the theory. I do have to give you just a little bit of context first. So anyone who is familiar with the Bible, who has read at least the book of like Genesis, I think it's the book of Genesis, you probably have heard the story of Cain and Abel. So for those who maybe don't know, Cain and Abel are the children of Adam and Eve, the first sons of Adam and Eve. Of course, after they got kicked out of Eden. So we also know from the Bible, that Cain did in fact murder his brother Abel. There are obviously different theories and stuff about like Cain, why he murdered him. But one thing I do think is interesting, and this is just a small little like tidbit. Cain, of course, in the Bible is told that he would basically be a restless wanderer on the earth, and that no one would kill him due to the mark of Cain. Similarly, that if someone did kill him, that they would suffer a much worse fate. So it's a very interesting concept, and Cain has a lot of theories, I would say, about him, a lot of biblical theories that kind of talk about, is Cain still alive, for instance? He said he would be a restless wanderer. Some people interpret that as him basically wandering the earth for eternity. So that's obviously an interesting interpretation of that. But the Bible does, of course, show a very stark difference between these two children, and basically how they were treated. Not necessarily that they were treated unfairly, but Abel was favored over Cain, which caused Cain to be jealous and then caused Cain to murder him. But small little tidbit, if you do happen to see a really old decrepit man walking around with a weird like scar or mark, probably just leave him alone. I don't want to say he's Cain, but it's a good chance he might be. So now that we have a little bit of an important context about Adam and Eve and their spawn, we do need to talk a little bit more about what the theory is. So today's theory, as it appears on the iceberg, is Serpent Seed. Serpent Seed is also known as the dual seed or the 2 seed line doctrine or the Serpent Seed doctrine. And as you can probably tell, because I did allude to this a little bit last week, I mentioned that this was a theological theory, and the word doctrine typically appears in religious context, and in this case, that would be correct. This is a very controversial and very fringe Christian belief, and as if to say that normal Christian beliefs are also not controversial, but I do kid, of course, kind of. But this one is definitely out of left field. It's super out of pocket.
Out of pocket for that shit.
I think, at least. But basically, people who believe this, they infer that Abel is the son of Adam and Eve. Son of Adam, good, we're good there. But that Cain is son of Eve. And the serpent of literally, basically, they're like, yeah, you heard that right. Cain is the son of a serpent.
You look like a snake!
So, of course, this does have some very interesting implications. We don't really know who the serpent was, right? Because there's lots of different theories about, who the serpent is. I think a lot of people, at least in a biblical context, they kind of think that it was, the devil. And, like, I don't know. I don't know enough about theology, and I don't know enough about the context, and I obviously wasn't there. But I don't necessarily think it was the devil. I think it was maybe something evil, but I think that at this juncture, the devil hadn't been introduced into the Bible yet, but a lot of people do believe it was the devil. But I'll say this. A lot of people think it could be the devil. A lot of people think it could have just been like an evil serpent. And some people even think it was Lilith, who was like, I don't know, Lilith pops up in like different contexts for the Bible and other religions. So I don't know. So that was just something I read. But while this is a wild theory, there are some additional implications of this that I think we need to talk about. So one big thing is that people who believe the Serpent Seed doctrine think that the union of the serpent and Eve created two races of humans. Basically, we have the righteous descendants of Adam who are destined to eternal life. They're destined to be in heaven. They're destined to have eternal salvation. They're gonna be the good guys, right? They're gonna be the people who win. You know what I mean? And then we have the damned descendants of the serpent who are wicked and destined for a life in hell. Now, this doctrine frames history as an eternal conflict between these two races of beings. In this conflict, the descendants of Adam, of course, will eventually triumph. And, I mean, that's all fine and dandy, I guess. But, yeah, basically they're like, yeah, World War II, sons of serpent, they fought each other. I think I don't know if you'll be able to guess which one was the sons of serpents. Maybe this next little bit will clue you in. But basically, they've essentially narrowed down that the fall of man is basically when Eve and the serpent, consummated their relationship, I guess, and had Cain. And basically, so Cain is the fall of man. Basically, Cain is basically that, like, pinnacle point where, like, even though it wasn't necessarily his fault, right? Because, obviously, he didn't have a choice in his creation. But obviously, he did, proliferate his bloodline. He did have children. I think, like, one of his sons was, like, his first son was Enoch or something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's like a whole story just about that kind of concept and like that bloodline, and yeah, so that's a whole thing. But the thing that I think is hilarious about this, and I think it's hilarious because it's absolutely ridiculous, is that first and foremost, this whole concept, this doctrine, it doesn't make any sense. There's nothing contextually or historically supporting of this statement, right? There's no proof in the Bible that says Cain was somehow the son of a serpent. Like, there's nothing in any way, shape, or form. I did see that there is some versions of Gnosticism and Gnostic writing that do also believe in the Serpent Seed doctrine. They don't necessarily believe it in the context of like what I'm about to tell you, but they do believe in it. So basically this whole thing is used a lot in racism. So like I've heard the phrase like people like the KKK use religion to justify their beliefs, and I could never understand how. And then I read this, and I'm like, okay, this absolutely makes sense now. So basically, the KKK and the other white nationalist groups use this concept to say that all people that they hate, like all the people that they don't like, all the minority groups, all the religious groups, the people that oppose them, basically, are all sons of the serpent. I mean, it's such a simplistic explanation as to why they hate so many people, and it's awful, absolutely awful. It's super disgusting, but basically that's how they justify their hate through a biblical aspect, which is just such a great thing, right? And while this is an interesting theory, I do think this is an interesting like interpretation. Like from a surface point of view, I don't believe it whatsoever. 1000% not cool. But like it's a very interesting story. It's a very interesting thread to unwind. But 1000%, this is only used as a way to justify hate. Because even if it wasn't always meant as such, you can't believe in this doctrine without also thinking that an entire 50% of our population, maybe a little bit less, are destined for hell because of something they had no control over. You know what I mean? They didn't choose to be on that side of the fight. You know what I mean? So basically, you can't believe in this without believing that there's like an entire, almost half of our population that's, yeah. So I do have a very hard time believing this, as well as other belief systems that they isolate groups of people like this. You know what I mean? They basically, the belief is completely isolating of that. Whether that isolation, of course, is just people in general, or groups of people, or races of people, or people who don't have access to religion, or just simply innocent bystanders, right? So many times we have situations where that's just how the cookie crumbles. So I think the primary refutation of this, of course, is from the Bible. Jesus. In modern Christianity, all of the Old Testament is an obsolete. So, oh man, I can't believe I have to talk about this. So for people who don't know, the Old Testament's obsolete because Jesus sacrificed himself. I mean, that's really it. God sent his only begotten Son. Okay, I don't remember the whole verse, but this is the verse. This is the big verse right here. The aforementioned fall of man happened prior to this, which means that Serpent Seed is not true. And I cannot believe that this is an actual belief system. I just can't. But I don't think it will happen. But if anybody's about to jump in the comment section and be like, now look here, the Serpent Seed doctrine is true, just don't, okay? I'm not going to engage with you. I'll probably just remove your comment, block you from the channel or whatever. But yeah, literally the fact that I could, as someone who does not know that much about it, I just pulled up this verse and it's just like, bingo, bango, bongo, you're done. Like, that's it. Anyhow, that's the Serpent Seed doctrine. Interesting, but 100% positively bullshit. Thanks again to Cicada1205 for the conspiracy theory iceberg. Again, somewhat of an interesting theory. Not true whatsoever. Even if I did think that this was true, the doctrine, of course, would absolutely be 100% obsolete, given the whole entirety of the New Testament and John 3:16. So there you go. Still worth a video, still worth talking about, just not true in any way, shape, or form. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm not going to continue rambling and ranting at you guys. But just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe, follow us on social media, all that good jazz. And if you haven't, feel free to leave a comment down below about what you think about this theory. Again, also think about any conspiracy theories or content that you would like to see on the channel. Feel free to give me your suggestions down below. I am always open to suggestions because I don't like doing this all the time. No, I'm kidding. I do like doing this all the time, but sometimes it is nice to kind of hear from you guys, see what you guys want to hear. I'm a man of the people. But thank you guys again so much for watching. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay awesome. We will see you in the next one. See ya.